Inspiration for production of this video is brought to you by the Tinyshutter podcast and its hosts Joseph Ferreira, Matt Hoffman, and Mark Sadowski. Thank you for all the work you do for the community and for the podcast. This video is primarily directed at the Tinyshutter community, part of the Tinyshutter podcast. So there may be some references that I make that if this is a general public viewer or just someone on my Facebook feed or Twitter feed may not understand it, that's fine. Roll with the punches. I want to do a video that was a little bit about the Apple Clips app. I understand it's been out for a little bit now, so it may be a little late to the party, but I wanted to have a chance to actually learn with it a little bit and work and use it a little bit to understand before putting out any kind of review or any kind of, hey, here's what it's like, just because you need to have time to actually use it and understand some of the weirdness about it. This was discussed briefly on the podcast. A lot of people saying, I know Matt Hoffman was saying how it was kind of limiting as an app compared to a lot of the other apps out there that are more full-blown movie editors, which I understand completely. And it is that way. It's more set up for people, maybe first steps. It's similar to more Instagram stories or Snapchat stories where you can take, again, stills or videos, kind of throw them together. And as Apple tends to do, you can put a nice little video on it, a title on it. We'll go over that when I actually compile something together. I haven't used it as much as I thought I was going to, mainly because as a stories type app for the clips here, in my mind you have to tell a cohesive narrative, or at least want to say here's something that happened at a particular time. The other limitation kind of in use here is that it only puts up things in a square format, which was fine years ago when Instagram was so popular and they only had square, but given that there's so many pictures out there that I maybe take in panoramic form, or even a group shot you may want to include into a story, and that doesn't really work out well here. Or if you want to import a clip of a video, you have to make sure that your subject can be squared off in terms of making sure everyone's included in or not. For stills, of course, you can use them, the old apps that people used to use to make sure their photos could fit into Instagram, but it's still limiting and it still kind of messes up whatever framing that you would have for a shot to begin with. However, you know, for Apple Clips, it's if you want to put together a short little, and as far as I can tell, there's no limit on time here, a short little story, a little clip with some music background, some basic transitions, and some title cards. It's a nice little app to put on there, and they do have some nice filters. And the one thing that makes it a little bit different that I haven't seen anyone, or exceptionally popular one I haven't seen yet, is that if there is speech during a video clip, or you can add speech later when you're adding a still as a voiceover, it will translate it into text. Now, of course, it uses Apple Siri engine, which we know Mark Sadowski loves Siri so much, and I'm sure when he tries this, or if he's already tried, it's 100% perfect for him compared to any other speech-to-text software that's available out there. So, as I said, I went to an event recently, and we'll go over and I'll kind of give you the over-the-shoulder view of me working on the Apple Clips app. And now I'm doing it on an iPad. It is, I think, primarily they thought about for an iPhone, but the nice thing is when they did the iPad app, it is universal. So it isn't just a double-sized screen. They didn't just double the size for the iPad to make it fit on there. So everything, even though the layout's the exact same way, it's not stretched, and the videos do look as crisp as possible as they would on an iPhone. So let's get started. As you can tell, they're using the very simple, it just says Clips. It doesn't even say Apple Clips on it, just says Clips here. So let's get started. And it opens up to a very basic screen, not even a splash screen that will let you know what's going on. Basically, if you want to take a video or take a photo, and you just click the hold there, and they have different features up here at the top of the screen. This is your text-to-speech feature. These are your filters. Luckily, it uses the same icon as the camera. This is your stickers, which I do have various stickers, and this is your title card there that you want to put in. This is how you look at earlier versions you're working on, and the little music icon is how you would add background music to it. Finally, that's how you would add, let's say, a voiceover as I was talking about before, or if you wanted to switch to the back camera, you could do it that way. Again, as you can see, it's pretty clear. You can see in terms of, but it immediately comes up and you see your face immediately on it, which can be a bit throwing off when it just pops up and all of a sudden you see your face instead of click here to start or something else. Now, to get started, let's say for this I want to add some things that were a couple days ago we went to see the Mentalist Banachek, and so I want to put a little slideshow of some of the pictures I took there. Now, to get started, let's make a little title slide. So if I push here, notice that you do have different features here. Now, you can always replace all these texts, which is nice. Now, if I just wanted something, let's go with something that looks like this. And the thing is, notice it is downloading. So none of these are all downloaded. It's downloading as necessary. Same thing with some of the clips, so it may take a little bit longer. And here, nice thing, just push, hold. Sorry, double click on this one, and you can just type in something here. It's very similar with the rest of the text, so you can just kind of double click on something to make an edit on it. So I'll put a couple of slides together, come back, and we'll talk about a little bit more on how to add photos. So I did this in the basic editing. Now, if you wanted to add, you would click hold to record here, and then when you do that, it'll actually record your voice if you want to do a voiceover at the same time. So I'm going to do put this here, and you hold, and you have to click and hold to let it take its time. And it'll actually show you as time goes by how many seconds you're adding on there. So this is a little video, a little clip compilation of when we went to see Banachek at the Oaks Theater in late May 2017. So if you want to just play back, you hit the little play button here. So this is a little video, a little clip compilation of when we went to see Banachek at the Oaks Theater in late May 2017. Now, if you hit the little speech thing, it actually has different now you can see where it says Banachek instead of Banachek. So you can, when you, let's say I want to do underneath here because I don't want to, and you can see where it starts to play here. So this is a little video. And let's see, we have a little issue there. So notice how it gives you a nice little ability here just to select and correct here. And just hit apply. And now if you play it again. Clip compilation of when we went to see Banachek at the Oaks Theater in late May 2017. So the rest of it's done very similar in terms of now if I want to add a picture from the library here, so I just hit library and scroll down here, and if I was to say want to select this one here, which is kind of the empty theater. Now again, it's downloading as necessary, so you can kind of see here if the image isn't square, which this one isn't, you can actually move up and down, and I just want to have kind of like the look there versus seeing all the rigging up top. And you can just click the hold. In this one I'm not going to do a voiceover per se, so if I just click and hold here, so you can see down below where now it's click and hold, and I can just hit play again. So this is a little video, a little clip compilation of when we went to see Banachek at the Oaks Theater in late May 2017. Now, one thing I didn't like hearing that, so I can do this, and I can mute clip by clip here. So I didn't want to have the background noises or dog barks or something happens in the background. I don't necessarily want to have it if I'm not talking. So you can always make those changes too. So add a few more clips here. But before I do that, one thing you can do, so they have the different filters here, and as Apple tends to do, they don't tend to overdo it. So you got the noir, the instant, a fade, a transfer, ink, which looks really neat, but not necessarily in a dark environment like this is. Chrome or comic book, which kind of looks kind of funky, and I've used that before. It's kind of nice if you want to. Some of these are nice if you want to hide, if you're necessarily not the best location to take a picture, and you're like, I can't fix it too much. Of course, like everything else, it makes it look good. But I'm just going to use a, because even though the lighting is not the best in the world, it's not horrible. So I just didn't want to, and also mess it up too much. Also, now, you were thinking, well, maybe I can zoom. No, you can't zoom in. So it's more of, the only thing you can really do here is clip it out like that. Now, clipping here is more of time-wise. So you can see down here and up top, it'll say how long that is. So I'm kind of scrolling at the bottom here to change how long. So you can expand it out for still or shrink it down if you wanted to have less. And of course, apply to save it. And the other clips are done very similar way. So I'll put that together and I'll be back in a minute to show you more of what you can do next. So I added multiple clips down here and multiple photos and did voiceover, so everyone's going to be sick of hearing my voice. And let's say you wanted to switch these around. You can just click, hold, and move these back and forth. So everything, again, 100% touch related. So this was kind of built from the ground up, which is nice. And when you're done, you can click the little down and you can either add more, you can take a photo, do a video, add more from your library here, or if you're done with that, oh, there I am again. Once you're done with that, then what you can do is click either the done button or switch the camera around, or hit the little music icon up here and go to the soundtrack, and then they have the different type of audio on here, either playful, holiday events, and let's say we want to add it, you get the little check off there. And they have different ones here also. For whatever reason, it's just not being shown, but there are tons there. So we do that. And you can see if we want to cut it or not. So we can just add the entire thing here, and it'll put it into the background. So if we want to actually do a final run through to see how everything's going, and let me get rid of that because this is there. That way you won't have that annoying message. So if we do this, we hit the play button. So this is a little video, a little clip compilation. It knows how it actually works and keeps the audio low enough without me even having to do anything, which is a very nice touch. But when there's no audio, it brings it up. Banachek using visuals to show the ESP experiment cards and how they were used. Using duct tape and so I don't want to run through the whole thing for you here, but now when you're done with this, so you have your, and you can see it's only 1:10 long, so it's not too bad. And you can either, give you suggestions on who to do in terms of message, which I don't know why it selected that, but it's learning. You can either save it to iCloud, do a direct message to someone, put it to Facebook, Vimeo, if you have your accounts all set up. I like to save the video just because that gives me an opportunity to put it in multiple places. This is what takes a little bit of time. This is the 9.7 iPad Pro, so it's a little bit quicker. On the iPhone 7, 7S, even quicker when I do it on my quote-unquote ancient 6 Plus, it takes a little bit longer. And then once you do this, it's just a normal video, so you can go play with it, do whatever else you want with it. So I hope everyone enjoyed that and actually got a chance to see the Clips app and saw a little run through there on what it can do and maybe some things it can't do. If you have any questions, add any comments below or anything else. Thanks so much and hope you enjoyed.